For the next 3 weeks, I will be coming to the floor regularly to remind the American people about the key questions that remain to be answered. I will also be sending a series of letters to the State Department, the Defense Department, and the CIA formally requesting responses to some of these questions. While I'm skeptical that the administration will be forthcoming with answers, I do hope that these questions will underscore for the Congress and the American people the woefully incomplete status of the Benghazi investigation.
That's Congressman Frank Wolf of Virginia vowing to get to the bottom of what happened on September 11th in Benghazi. He's renewing calls for a select committee to investigate the terror attack and its aftermath. That deadly assault, as you know, was initially blamed on reaction to an anti-Muslim video. Our ambassador to the UN, Susan Rice, went on 5 Sunday talk shows repeating the claim that the attack sprang from protests that spiraled out of control. That turned out to be false. The assault on September 11th killed 4 Americans, including Ambassador Chris Stevens. Since then, Congress has held hearings on what went wrong, with witnesses testifying about the security situation on the ground in Libya.
Mr. Hicks, when you arrived in July, did the facilities in Benghazi meet the minimum OSPB security standards set by the State Department?
According to the regional security officer at the time in AAA, John Martinek, they did not.
Well, now Congressman Wolf is again challenging the administration after reports that Benghazi survivors were asked to sign letters preventing them from talking about the attack. In a letter to Secretary of State John Kerry, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel, as well as CIA Director John Brennan, the congressman writes, if these reports are accurate, it would raise serious questions about additional restrictions the State Department has placed on those with knowledge of the Benghazi attacks. Joining us now, Virginia Republican Congressman Frank Wolf. Those NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, do you know for a fact that they were requested of American personnel?
Yes, I do know that they were requested, and I know that they have been signed. I've been told that, and we're asking the administration for that to verify it, but secondly, to give us the names of who signed those agreements.
So why would American personnel be asked to sign non-disclosure agreements?
So the Congress and the American people would not know what happened that night.
You think this is an active attempt by, what, Defense Department personnel, administration personnel, CIA personnel?
I think it's an active participation of, quite frankly, the administration to find out, to make sure that the American people and the Congress do not find out what went on. And when the American people find out, I think they're going to be shocked.
Well, that's why.
But yeah, they have been asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement. If you recall, last week it came out, some of the people who were with the annex there have now signed a book deal for $3 million. $3 million. So if you want to find out, you can buy the book. It'll come out next year. And then another group, if you read the Vanity Fair piece, they have also signed a book deal, which will be coming out this fall. The administration does not want the American people to know what took place.
Well, you also write in your letter to Secretary Kerry and the others, you say, I also worry about the impact of any NDA, that's a non-disclosure agreement, on congressional efforts to understand fully what happened that night and why the department, namely the Department of State in this case, responded the way it did. You think they're trying to buffalo Congress?
I think they're trying to hide it from Congress and indirectly hide it from the American people. And the Congress still has the capacity to subpoena these people. The non-disclosure agreement will not apply if they are subpoenaed by Congress. That's why we've asked for a select committee with subpoena power. The non-disclosure agreements can be enforced by the administration, but if the Congress subpoenas these individuals, they must testify. And what we're asking for the committees up here to get the list of those who have signed the non-disclosure agreements, and I now know some of them that have, subpoena them, bring them before Congress, and lastly, have a public hearing.
Well, you've had hearings in front of Congress already.
We have never brought any of these individuals before Congress. I've been in touch with individuals who are connected to them. At one time, they wanted to come before Congress. They wanted to come. They wanted to come and tell the world what happens. Nobody ever asked them to come. The administration was trying to keep them come. They all came into town. In fact, some came into town during that day in early June when they had a ceremony at the CIA. They signed the non-disclosure agreements. They've signed a book deal, and now they're not prepared to talk because they have a book deal signing. And listen, many of these men were heroes. They were heroes. When the American people find out what they did, they killed a large number of the bad guys. They are heroes. So I have no problem with the signing of the book agreement, but what I want is them to come in and testify before the American people, and that's why we need a select committee.
Well, so on that topic, 160 of you want that select committee. You are pushing for it. Why is it not happening?
Well, we just got a new member today, Congressman Rohrabacher, so we're at 161. I think it will happen. I think there'll be the pressure. I would urge everyone to ask their congressman, are you a co-sponsor of HRES 36? To set up it's bipartisan, too. It is a bipartisan select committee. But we are making progress, and that's why in fact, when I leave this interview, I'm going to the floor of the House to lay out the fourth question to raise some more issues. But I am ultimately confident that we will get a select committee.
But you do have the August recess coming up. The select committee would what? Meet after you return?
Well, you raise a very good point. When we return, 2 days after we return, it'll be the one-year anniversary. The one-year anniversary. That's troubling. And keep in mind, we lost 4 people. So what we're asking for is subpoena the people who signed the non-disclosure agreement. They will be under oath. They should have public hearings, and the American people will know what happened and why it happened.
Also worth remembering, the president promised to bring to justice the people responsible for that attack. That hasn't happened yet either.
That has not happened.
Congressman Frank Wolf of Virginia, we appreciate you coming on today. We know you're going to be speaking in front of the Congress in the next hour or so, and we hope to have you back on soon to talk about this issue.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hard to believe.